Hello, SpeedGaming and Link to the Past Randomizer fans. We've got an exciting match for you here today between Team They Vetoed Our Acronym and WJPDTB. On acronym side, we got Acktheboker running with Korek doing some navigation. It's navigating, by the way. He's not a pilot. Doing the navigation on the piloting on that side, and then Willard J. Bradley will be piloting for DT. I am Swerb. I'll be commentating for you, accompanied by Clearmouse. How are you doing today, Clearmouse?
I'm doing wonderfully on this awesome night for the weekend. I am super psyched to see this match.
Oh yes, me too. So if anyone is unfamiliar with this game mode, hasn't caught any matches this week, this is a very cool, very fun game mode. Very chaotic if you're one of the people running it. But essentially, we have one runner on each side who are going to be running through the seeds. It's a key sanity seed, and then their partner, which again is Korek on the Team They Vetoed Our Acronym side, and Willard J. Bradley on Team WJPDT. We're just going to call him WJP. On that side, they get access to the spoiler log right when the race starts. The runners don't get to see it, but their pilots get to guide them through the seed as we start off right here, getting a Misery Mire small key out of the back of Sank. Or not the back of Sank, but the Sank chest.
Yeah, and Ack also picking up 3 bombs from Link's house. This will be really nice, actually. Presumably, DT's already changing course from what I initially thought he might have done. Looks like DT's maybe going to set up a Houlihan. Ack going left because probably going to make his way towards Lost Woods and Kakariko. Those bombs are going to come in really handy if he needs to bomb any walls in there.
Yeah, there's 3 walls in Kakariko that you potentially need to bomb. The nice thing about this mode, again, is with the pilots having access to the spoiler log, they'll be able to check and see which ones are actually worth spending bombs on or not. I actually like this Houlihan start on WJP's side because unlike the normal randomizer, when you don't know what's coming, you just kind of open up everything you come across, and you're going to find a good amount of money, you're going to find some bombs, you're going to find arrows. But when you're only specifically hunting out the items you need to pick up, it's a lot harder to manage all of that stuff. So some early money can be great, especially if they have to pay for the bottle merchant in Kakariko early on.
Oh yeah, resource management, especially in, as you just said, we're not picking up any trash or unnecessary chests along the way. Those little things like 20 rupees here and there, 3 bombs, 10 arrows are not going to come any conveniently. So having that extra money is certainly going to be really nice.
Absolutely, and especially again, it's like I said, this is chaos. The first few minutes of these seeds are extremely stressful and chaotic. As the pilot kind of tries to guide their runner through the early game, because they get the spoiler log literally when the timer starts, so they're scrambling to kind of figure out where we're going in Kakariko, what's worth picking up, and so sometimes you might boot.
Yes.
Nice early boot.
That is probably one of the top priority for all runners as a request to their pilots, or their navigators, as to, am I going to get boots early? And if so, when am I going to get them?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to know where those are pretty early on. Typically you'll guide someone through Kakariko, let them know which chests they want to pick up while they're doing that, and then sort through the spoiler log. You can control F, but you can't really use any automated tools or anything. So that's gonna be something you control F for early on, is find out where those boots are, see if there's you want to kind of work for them, if they're work towards them if they're anywhere reasonable. So finding them in the back of CAC there is really nice, and it's gonna speed up the entire seed.
Yeah, speaking of which, to make the game even more playable, Ack found his first sword in the well. So, not only can we actually dash, we can actually dash to our heart's content, because any enemies are on the way are just going to get slashed right through by that sword.
Yeah, really, absolutely.
Really elevates those the boot's potential here.
Yeah, especially the slider sword is just it's a huge boot upgrade, because you can, like Clearmouse said, you can just dash right through enemies. When you don't have the sword to stick out in front of you, you have to be a lot more careful about your dashing, especially early on. And actually for a lot of the spoiler log, these like co-op spoiler log seeds, because you're not going to pick up a lot of health. It's going to be kind of a low percent. So just having that fighter sword makes navigating all these screens a lot easier because you don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to dash into a crab and take 2 hearts of damage?
Oh yeah, and especially even even more so in spoiler log races in general, right? We're not going to probably pick up a lot of necessary or unnecessary safety. Don't be surprised if we're not going to get any more or many more heart containers other than the 3 hearts or like green mail, because every single thing that you kind of take that's potentially not in your path or convenient is going to be more time you're going to give out to the opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. And this race in particular should be pretty exciting. Oh, a nice early hook shot.
Yeah, we're picking up so many goodies along the way. So Ack and DT has picked up bombos. They got a hook shot. That's a really good defensive item. They got a glove. They got a bow from Lost Woods. I mean, items, especially when you have a split lock for everything, they're really just going to come fast and furious here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you saw Ack immediately went into the dam there, opened the chest, knows that sunken treasure isn't worth grabbing, so he just left and got a nice hook speed on the stairs there and heading over into Egano's cave, which is the only thing open to him over in the desert area.
Oh, that key looks ominous. Our first castle tower small key. So hopefully this won't be an Agassi, but that is certainly one step closer. But most likely there's going to be something in that first or second chest of castle tower. That's at least the hope for us.
I imagine Korix had enough time to see if that key was necessary, especially like this early on, going all the way over to desert just to pick up the key. I don't know. This could easily be like an Ega for Dark World access seed, or it could just, they might not be killing Ega. To get to that second chest in Ega Tower, you do need one small key, so there could just be something in that dark maze room.
Yeah.
There's the lamp.
Speaking of that, all right. So we're putting some couple pieces together here for that potential Aga or Castle Tower climb. Although at least for the time being, we are still short one Castle Tower small key.
Yes, we are, and we're gonna need a cape or a sword upgrade to actually get into the tower itself.
Yeah, certainly hoping for that second sword versus the cape.
Absolutely. Though both are nice, especially like cape when you're kind of doing the low percent stuff can come in big handy as a safety. Plus with quick swap, there's actually some cool like cape tech that you could use to run through certain rooms, like the cannonball room in like Eastern, for instance. That's not normally viable without the quick swap feature because it's not worth the menu. But if you can just switch whenever. Also, we are seeing major like route differences between the two teams already.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an indication probably of the seed that there are just so many items kind of out in the open, and kind of makes me personally a bit thankful because in order to have the spoiler for the seed, because there's just so much open to everybody, right? Like you'd rather have somebody tell you where to go and make your route more directive versus like, should I go here, should I go here, and how many different the race can be decided by a bunch of coin tosses, right, for where you choose to go first. Versus you have a pilot that is trying to navigate that spoiler log and tell you where everything is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what makes this so fascinating to both play and to spectate. Like I said, there's like a nice, fun, kind of chaotic atmosphere. It's definitely not a mode for everybody when you're playing or navigating, but there's a nice, fun like chaos to it. But also as like a spectator or commentator, there's practically zero significant luck in this mode. It all comes down to how well the runner is able to execute low percent seeds, navigate the screens in the world, and how well the pilot can kind of parse through the spoiler log and direct their player and how to route efficiently and on the fly.
Oh yeah, and actually, speaking of these pilots and runners, right? It's actually communication and kind of understanding what your runner is comfortable with is extremely important, right? Because you actually see, at least for convenience sake, Kurek got Ack the lamp, so he didn't actually have to do he didn't rescue the dark, the man of the maze in the dark, but DT didn't actually end up getting the lamp. He's very much capable of, but you really have to just make sure that your runner's comfortable with where you're going to send them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go assume we're not even going to see the lamp on the right side now, seeing that there is the fire rod in Paradox Cave.
Oh.
Also
Yeah.
coupled with like a moon pearl, a heart container, a lot of good stuff, a lot of goodies in Paradox Cave there. So that fire rod will help them navigate dark rooms.
Yeah, and it's also, speaking of which, I think we're going to see DT kind of pick up some same similar goodies here. But Ack is kind of 2 heart containers up over DT, but DT's got that blue mail, right? All kind of depends on what people feel comfortable with.
Oh yeah, and that's where the mitts. I'm sorry, I saw the mitts like on the screen. I just like had a blank on where they were. Everything just happens to get so fast in this mode. It's tough to keep up. But yeah, that mitts and the moon pearl together there in Paradox Cave, giving Dark World access. So we see Ack jumping straight over into the Dark World, doing Dark Death Mountain. DT hot on the heels.
Oh yeah, and speaking of which, so I think oh, that's right. I think we picked an early hook shot. This will probably be really good for both runners. Because I think there might have been some potential hovering discrepancies here between these 2 runners. So it's really nice to see that both runners are going to be able to take on Hookshot Cave with a hook shot, as opposed to just the boots.
Wow, yeah, and there's a Master Sword.
Yeah. It's a really nice
a red potion.
Cave. Yeah.
Heart container. So again, those safeties are real nice. Those are the kind of things like you want to just pick up those on your way. Like that red potion could be a huge lifesaver. It's worth taking the 5 seconds to go grab it. Especially like if you have to come here on the anyway to go get that Master Sword.
Oh yeah, no, this is definitely really good, efficient routing. As you said, by both navigators, right? We just ended up picking up the Titan's Mist for our Dark World access, and hey, Hookshot Cave is just right there, right? This is there's no better time in this case in order to visit this this cave and get some nice upgrades and safeties.
Okay, and we see Ack just pulled 300 rupees out of the back of escape there.
Yeah, this could be money for Zora. This could be bottle vendor money. This could be dig game money. This could be chess game money. This could be potion money if they need it again.
We are not seeing DT pick up those same 300 rupees. So I'm assuming it's not going to be for Zora, or there's another maybe more convenient. At least DT's team seems to think that there might be another more convenient 300 rupees available. But there are, you mentioned a lot of other things that you could spend rupees on. So it's nice, like maybe they do need to buy or pay for chess game and dig game and pod, and just being able to afford all of those from one pickup is real nice.
Yeah, speaking of Zora, potentially here, Ack just picked up the flippers from Sick Kid. He also purchased the caves from Bottle Vendor. Wow, okay. This is actually a really nice kind of a loadout for Ack. He has a cape for safety, and looks like he's gonna kind of follow in DT's footsteps to explore some of Skull Woods.
Yeah, and find the hammer in the pinball room there at Skull Woods. And there's another heart container. Another quick one to pick up on the way out the front entrance here. Nope, we're going left. Pot Prison. Yeah,
in terms of DP's damage or safety here, I mean, he has blue mail. He has 6 hearts. This is actually, I would say, pretty comfy. Especially this early on to access the Dark World.
All right, and there's one of the pod keys was sitting in Pot Prison there. You're always gonna need, well, yeah, as long as pod is a crystal, you're always gonna need at least one of those. But we'll probably need a couple more if there's anything else we need to pick up.
Alright, yeah, looks like Ack really wanted that compass to Turtle Rock there, so there certainly could be, some communication issues with, with piloting runners, figuring out which is the map/compass chest, or maybe that chest just kind of, along the way, right? And maybe Ack is hoping that he can, score a freebie there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of chaos, especially the first, 20 minutes or so of the pilot kind of parsing through that spoiler log. Just kind of looking for the important things first before, kind of checking what else is along the way. So yeah, there's any number of reasons that Ack could have picked that up, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he likes collecting compasses.
That's right. Maybe he just really wanted to, confirm the item counts in that dungeon. Yeah, actually, so looking on DT's side here, we're actually going to see one of the potential dangers of, or one of the hallmarks of Explorer Log Race, low % execution. Going into Mothula here with 5.5 hearts and just a Master Sword is potentially can be quite dangerous. So certainly
Ooh.
best of luck to DT here.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ack taking a death. That could have been a death warp. Yeah, it was just a death warp in Thieves Town. He went in and picked up I believe it was another pod small, and took a death warp out of there.
And so this, it looks at this, what, their second pod key? So it certainly can be an indication that something else is in pod that we are interested in.
Yeah. Again, like I said, you need if all you need to do is go to Helmsor and beat him, you can technically do it with just the one key, but that requires going right side. So 2 keys could still... Ooh, and a Tempered Sword at Dig Game.
That's going to be a really nice upgrade there, especially for when Ack goes and fights Mothiel, he will be 1 sword over TT, so this is potentially a good time saver.
Yeah, it could save a little bit of time, but DT did a very good job kind of handling that fight with the Master Sword and Hammer. Tempered is easier, you probably will save a little bit of time, but Ack will also have to kind of backtrack through a couple of those Skullwood screens to get to the dungeon, so it could come out a wash there.
Oh yeah, yeah, and as a navigator, right? You're constantly trying to kind of weigh out like what is my risk reward, type of thing, right? Because in this case, Ack has an early Temper Sword, but yeah, as you said, we're gonna potentially have to backtrack over to Skullwoods, whereas DT already has his first crystal like under his belt.
Yeah, absolutely. But it also, yeah, there's any number of bosses. Like the Master Sword, the Tempered upgrade is always like the biggest upgrade in terms of swords in this game. It speeds up pretty much virtually every boss fight in the game. So every boss with that sword difference can save a little bit of time on Ack and they vetoed our acronyms side.
Oh yeah, and this is actually good news for both our runners. In the case that when we go fight Ganon, we will at least be Temper Sword. Doing Master Sword Ganon with or without silvers is never really a great time.
Okay, we got Ack is heading towards Hyrule Castle now. DT came here early and stopped by Uncle and picked up this chest, but we could see an Ega dip. It could be like if it is just that Dark Maze chest, they have the 1 key for it.
Yeah, so I did notice that Ack ended up picking up his second Castle Tower small key here in the back of Pipe Cave. But at least the fact that Ack is kind of able to make 1 trip over here seems actually to be pretty efficient for Korek and Ack. Kind of combining in this case whatever you need in Hyrule Castle and Uncle, and whatever you need in Castle Tower. But it seems like there's been so much divergence between our 2 runners. All of the items are just scattered about like the entire, both worlds, right? So it's kind of hard to kind of tell whether or not, like, whose routing in this case is going to be, more efficient.
Yeah, especially with just so much divergence. They're all kind of going to be going to the same places, but they're getting there in very different ways, and which is again what makes this mode so exciting. Like I said, there's virtually zero like significant luck. It just is a matter of how well the player can play and how well their co-pilot can help them navigate through the seat efficiently. But right now, it's really hard to tell who is being better at doing those 2 things.
Yeah, speaking of which, so I'm watching Ackside here. He spent his 2 Castle Tower small keys for 20 rupees in the first chest and 50 rupees in the second, and he is continuing on, which means it looks like, out of all of the stuff that we have, there has to be something over there in the pyramid that we're interested in.
Absolutely.
Or maybe Lumberjack in this case. That.
Yeah, we do have access to pyramid, both logically with the Titans and stuff. So it's got to be something in that Lumberjack cave. We've got a book available. Like we have fetch quest. We got all the fetch quest items that could be sitting back there. And again, the nice thing about the spoiler log is you know whether they're required or not ahead of time. But we're also missing a flute and a mirror, an ice rod, which hopefully we don't. Pick that up.
Yeah, hopefully, because Turtle Rock is a pendant, we're hoping, hopefully not going to have to go on Ice Rock hunt today. But, if we have to go on a hunt, it is really, as we said, just Control F and that spoiler log. Certainly not going to have to, go through like 15 or 20 minutes of, does this thing have the ice rod? Does this have the ice rod? Type of thing for our runners.
Absolutely. We did see DT take a pit stop over by Sahasrara and pick up that lamp. He did get the big key to pod, was also in Hype Cave, so it looks like he's gonna go ahead and group in pod with that trip to Sahasrara.
Yeah, unfortunately no mirror, so it looks like there's going to be a little bit of backtracking, but, you know, with those boots, it's really not going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah, and plus we haven't seen the Eastern big key yet, so who knows when the players will actually even be able to complete Eastern.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
yeah, that's...
there might not be anything else important in there other than the crystal off of the boss.
Yeah, this is you know, as you said, this is actually quite a common occurrence for key sanity seas. Is that normally when you think of just finding all your progression items, you know, it really just is all the stuff in your like why inventory, right? Or, you know, like boots or flippers or hookshot. In key sanity, you need a bunch more keys, right? Eastern Palace big key. Palace of Darkness big key. I mean, it's really unfortunate when kind of like both runner and pilot kind of end up forgetting something, and then like the runner gets all the way to, you know, like the pod big key door, and they can't go further.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's again, there's so much chaos in this. It gets it happens quite a bit, honestly. I know last season I sent my partner into, say, Swamp Palace without the flippers, and
Oh, no.
it's like,
no.
where are my flippers? And I'm like, oh yeah.
Minor detail.
Oh well, there's that Eastern big key.
I was gonna say that's super. Oh wow! All right, so Pod has quite the loadout here. Yeah, as you said, we just found Eastern Palace big key, so maybe you know there'll be even more convenient mirror here in Pod, right? So they'll finish it, mirror right over, and then complete Eastern.
This is actually okay. So now we have DT backtracking to. Okay, he's gonna go straight to the back. So he's gonna use the one small key he picked up to get to the back of Pod. Which could be fine. Like if he gets all of the items, there's the flute hanging out in the back of Lumberjack Cave.
I would certainly say that Korek and I'm sure in this case Willard has accurately judged that we had a defeat today. Oh no, DT!
You called it with the mirror.
Okay, he made it. That's good. Oh, good. Oh, good. Because I just saw the screen go black, so I was like, oh no, did he fall or something? But how convenient to find a mirror in Pod, because I'm sure without the spoiler log, I was super motivated to come here to Pod without that mirror.
So, yeah, so they, on the right side here on WJP's side, yeah, as I mentioned, they went in with one pod small, which was enough to go right side, get that Eastern big, get those silver arrows, which is another just great early item. It's going to help speed up this Armos fight, Vitreous later, a number of bosses, as well as Ganon himself. And then the mirror out of the big chest, which is also a great item. Let him zip right out of there and straight over to Eastern. But, oh, there's a pod small. Okay, which is what I was about to mention, because now when Ack goes in here, he already has 2 pod smalls. So he'll be able to also go down that right side, collect those items he wants, head to the back, and I maybe just go down the right side again and use the second key to get the Helmosaur.
Yeah, I definitely really like this this routing by both navigators here. Is you can actually kind of like be able to recognize and you can combine, you know, Eastern Pod really efficiently.
Yeah, so I kind of, yeah, I don't even know which one I like more. Like when Ack does Eastern, he'll be able to skip going to that right side chest. Well, there's another pod small in here. Okay, so actually that's really nifty too, because then that means he'll be able to just walk through the front door. He won't have to go down the right side anymore.
I think, yeah, was there always some sort of like mantra that there's always a pod key in Pod? Well, in this case, you know, Pod will just give you the mirror, so you can just mirror right over to Eastern, which apparently has 2 small pod keys.
Yeah, so I imagine, yeah, so Ack, already knowing that he's got an extra pod key to spare. Oh, and the big key of Misery Myers sitting down here. Just opens up that front door, and then he'll go down the right side, collect those items, and then when he comes into Eastern, he'll just open up that big chest to get the key he needs to get the Helmosaur.
Yeah, looks like DC is going to be the first of our 2 runners here in to fight Armos. As you said, look at those super fast silver arrows just taking Armos down. Picks up a quick medallion, which is our second one.
All right, yeah, now DT heading back out. He's going to mirror right back on over, go in the pod, and head towards Helmosaur. So we'll see a brief high five of the runners here.
Looks like Akka had a little bit of indecision for what he ended up wanting to do, but looks like he's probably going to try to get the Stair State extension. Unfortunately, didn't quite succeed. But yeah, it looks like he's going to kind of follow in DT's footsteps in terms of pod routing.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So I don't know exactly how this glitch works, but it's really easy. You just, toss down the I said that after Act fails, but you toss the Savaria block down to the left, and then you get reeled down close to the edge of the pit there, where kind of Link starts to slip towards his fall, and you dash up, and it will just kind of extend those auto stairs straight through those colored pegs, which saves you a good bit of time. Is really unfortunate for Act to fail that, because not only does that he wastes time on having to go out and reset that room anyway, but the Samaria block with all those beetles is causing some additional lag.
That looks yeah. As Ak pickups it here and here, he's going to kind of mirror right over to Eastern. He's going to go get his same good. Actually, I think this was kind of pointed out earlier, potentially because he has Ak and Korak have an extra pod small key. Potentially, they don't have to actually end up going to the right side of Eastern. They can maybe just go potentially straight to the boss, which is exactly what they're doing.
Well, they had the extra, but there's 2 pod smalls in here, so Ak's gonna pick up the one in the big chest, because he does need one more to get to the boss.
Right. Yeah, so that's because I think he's, because they picked up a pod key earlier, they don't have to go to the map chest.
Yeah, so that's going to save a little bit of time in this Eastern clear. And then we got WJP, we got DT heading into Helmosaur fight here. And that will net him his 3rd crystal, whereas Ak is working towards his first, but once he's done here in Eastern, he'll be able to mirror back, or take his portal back into the Dark World, clear out Pod real quick, and get his 2nd crystal. And then they'll route in Skullwoods sometime later.
Yeah, it certainly does seem, maybe like a potential approach is, Ak and Korak are trying to get a lot more kind of items earlier on, and then maybe their hope is that they're just going to be able to go mode like a bunch of dungeons, with some, pretty upgraded equipment. It kind of looks like maybe Willard is directing DT to kind of get your dungeons, cleared as you go type of approach.
Yeah, and I mean, when I put out the numbers like that, it's like, 3 crystals to 2 crystals. Like, it looks like that makes it sound like DT's ahead, but you have to keep in mind, Ak has already done Castle Tower and killed Egganim, so we're gonna have to see that on the right side. They also need to go pick up their flippers as well, because Ak had already gone over to Sick Kid where he got the flippers.
Yeah, speaking of trying to kind of even things up here, DT looks like he is going to make his way through Castle Tower as well.
Let's see. Yeah, what are we missing? So yeah, if we have Hera as a pendant, or as a crystal rather, that's easy. That's just gonna be a Hera pot. You don't need to find a big key for that. We do need a Desert Big for Desert Palace as a crystal. Ice Palace is another. Wow, they have like a lot of these are great dungeons to have as crystals if you're doing Key Sanity. Ice Palace, Skullwoods, and Tower of Hera are all completable without the big key. Hera obviously is dependent on having access to the hook shot, which they do. So
yeah, as you're kind of listing out all of the kind of crystal big key requirements, or even potentially small keys, we are certainly missing Desert Palace small key, or a big key. But otherwise, looks like we have all our requisite medallions. That is probably our last piece of progression that we need before these runners can just tear through the rest of the dungeons.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just like these seeds always go so fast. Like, we're only 30 minutes in, and that's just the power of the spoiler log at work.
Yeah, and in fact, actually, kind of watching a lot of races this week, it really does actually seem like the 30-minute mark is kind of like a good estimate of ballpark. That's when most of the runners seem to kind of be able to, take over from their pilots and just kind of go mode a bunch of dungeons or whatever they need to do. And this is kind of like the mark where the pilots can maybe kind of relax a little bit because they've already gotten all their runners, like all their goodies.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's like the first like 20 minutes or so are just a lot of chaos, and then it's like about 10 minutes of wrapping stuff up, and then at this point, they should have pretty much the rest of their route kind of set in mind. And it's just a matter of executing it. I am very curious to find where this desert big key is, though, because could be any number of places.
That is true. Oh, I didn't even notice that. I was hurt dropping powder, which is certainly really nice safety also to have. My guess is that the Desert Palace Big Key might be in Swamp. That would be potentially for this seed the only reason why you would want to pick up or need to pick up the flippers from Sick Kid. Because even though Ice Palace is a crystal, we can always fake flipper in, right? That's not a requirement for these guys by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Yeah, Swamp being a pendant, there's no other reason to go in there other than to get something you need. And yeah, if you know where everything is, like you said, you can fake. Swamp is the only hard requirement that has flippers as a hard requirement, rather. So, but we haven't seen them pick it up on the right side. But again, I imagine.
Yeah,
I don't know when they'll actually route that in. With Skullwood's already completed. And Thieves Town also being a pendant.
So potentially, if this is the case, because we're just actually
I guess they're gonna get the fleet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they're gonna go to Lumberjack. They're gonna activate it, and then Act gets it. I mean, like
connect the dots here.
Oh no! I mean, like as you said, this is total chaos, right? I mean, these pilots, I would say, at least for maybe try to kill that Stalfos there with or the freezer with the flute. Music does not tame any savage icicles here in Ice Palace.
Just trying to make them shatter like glass.
Yeah, but I mean, I was gonna say, like at least for the seed, it potentially is a little bit friendlier on the navigator side because this case Turtle Rock is a pendant. You don't have to really go through. You don't have to go through another ice rock hunt, right? Or maybe Turtle Rock small keys. But in terms of kind of like where all the items are in the logic chains, it really does seem actually quite open.
Yeah, we haven't seen any like crazy convoluted logic chains. Not a lot of those fetch quest items. We haven't really seen any of them in play, actually. Mm-hmm. Well, other than, I guess, like Sick Kid needing a bottle, but that's not too bad, particularly when the bottle you pick up has a red potion in there, which is just going to be additional safety. And was with a sword, so...
Yeah, speaking of which, I think Ack has historically complained quite strongly about not having any safeties. He is sitting here on 8 hearts. Blue mail. He has 1 bottle with the red potion and a good amount of money actually if he needs to go stop by the potion shop for any other additional safety. So I think he should be good to go. Yeah,
as well as a cape. Again, that's just kind of like, and silvers, like they have a lot of good items to help them through the seed, like tempered, because that's what can make this so hard is like you have to, and both of these runners are very good, so. Both of them would try to do like the bare minimum, like the lowest that they're comfortable doing, because you're looking for any edge you can get. So they kind of lucked out having a seed that had convenient silvers, convenient tempered sword, a nice cape, like all of these good safety items here.
Yeah, and speaking of, I guess, trying to potentially get a faster cold stare kill on Ack's side, choosing to use Bomb Post Medallion, this is certainly a bit more conservative, but hey, we get extra fire rod shots to make things a little bit faster. We are going to take it.
Yeah. Well, it also helps when you don't have full magic, unless you want to do like some sword beam strat if you have full health. Oh, well, this is a big key.
Oh my god.
The desert.
how convenient, because we were going to totally expect that on Desert Ledge. Hey, it's that was at least pretty close. All right, so
Okay,
forget
so those
about
flippers.
needing, yeah, forget about needing those flippers.
Well, that's also just another thing that can happen in this mode is like if you haven't really figured everything out just yet, you see something like flippers on Sick Kid. You might just be like, yeah, go pick those up just in case I don't know yet, like when it's convenient. Like it's not that far out of the way. Oftentimes, like just pick it up because you haven't quite sorted out whether you need it or not. So
you are 100% correct. There is nothing wrong with really kind of hedging your bets, right? Because yeah, especially if you said things are sometimes just on the way, take the extra 4 or 5 seconds to pick it up. You know, if you don't need it later, you know, it's not a big time loss. But if you do need it later, to have to potentially try and route that back in could actually be really expensive in terms of time.
yeah. So okay, so we've got DT is gonna head into the Lambo fight. Again, with Tempered Sword, Silver Arrows, Fire Rod. He has any number of options. Going with the Silver Arrows, it should be the fastest here.
Yeah.
He's going to pick up his 4th crystal, and Ack is working towards his 4th.
Yeah, it really looks like at this point, you know, DT has a Desert Clear over Ack, but Ack has a Ice Palace clear over DT. Otherwise, you know, assuming Ack is going to make pretty quick work with Mothula here, things are going to even out a bit for our runner, so we can get a much better gauge of kind of like how close they are.
Yeah, it's going to be very close. Both of those dungeons, like Ice Palace, like at least with the the Candace Samari to do Icebreaker is a pretty quick dungeon, as is Desert. So we'll kind of have to see.
Yeah, I am actually very curious on both these runners' sides to see how they manage their arrow count, right? So both of you know, DT's heading into Mire now, and you know the fastest way to.
Oh, there we go.
Wow, that was really fast.
So definitely a much faster boss side fight on that side.
Yeah, and you know, so managing using silver arrows against Vitreous is going to be certainly probably the fastest that they're going to do. He certainly still wants to be able to save 4 arrows for Ganon himself and whatever number of arrows you need for the gauntlet. So, you know, potentially, you know, even though these runners don't necessarily need any more items or keys, I certainly wouldn't put it past either of them to ask them, hey, can you find me 10 arrows somewhere? Or, you know, maybe some game knowledge just like DT just did there and pick up arrows along the way to make sure he still has enough.
Yeah, this is definitely a game mode where having the knowledge of like what drops are under what pots in each dungeon can really help you fill out those arrow and bomb counts. There is also the option of, you know, after Ice Palace, if you need some arrows, you can, you know, dive back into the Capacity Fairy and buy a quick upgrade, which will fill you up to max arrows as well.
Yeah, no, that is some really heads-up play there, Swerve. And in fact, DT and Willard has not done Ice Palace yet, so you know they can actually probably in this, as you're absolutely right, they can spend all their arrows to their heart's content, killing Vitreous, and then once they finish, you know, Ice Palace, just mirror right over.
Yeah, if they feel the need to, they actually at 18 arrows with the silver arrows, they should have enough to take down Vitreous and get through the Mimic rooms. Because I was that 5 arrow pickup was actually pretty clutch. Because I was kind of trying to think, I was like, Ice Palace isn't gonna have any arrows that they're gonna be able to pick up unless they do Capacity Fairy, and Hera is just gonna be a quick Hera pot, so there's not gonna be any arrows there. But having the knowledge of that 5 arrow pickup in Mire could actually save them just a little bit more time not having to visit that capacity upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing to note, for all of these Blur Log races, the runners and pilots are allowed to watch their opponent's stream as well as the restream. So they most likely are very much aware of where their opponents are in this race. So, you know, like if they think that maybe potentially they can't afford another safety, they can't afford to, you know, take a detour, you know, that is something that is going to be under consideration.
Oh, there's sure, you know what?
Oh man,
the silver arrows and the tempered sword and the cape and the blue mail wasn't enough. Let's give him a gold sword just for good measure. That's actually also very nice too for the Cold Stare fight on DT's side. Well, Axe Cold Stare fight was fine. The problem with using the fire rod on the puffs there, if you didn't catch it, is like ideally, if you can hit all 3 of them, it does do gold sword damage to them, which is the same as a tempered spin. But that didn't seem to happen for Ack, and then they got kind of out of control, and so they lost a little bit of time there compared to just doing a typical, spin them into the corner and then keep them corralled up there with slashes and spins. But that fight is actually like free, like not free. I'm not gonna say like if you can't do it, it's understandable. But for these players, DT with a gold sword should be able to just destroy Cold Stare as efficiently as possible. So you lost a little bit of time to Ack on the Moth fight, but DT will save a little bit of time over Ack on the Cold Stare fight.
Yeah, I am fully expecting a blink and you miss a Cold Stare fight on DT's side with that, as you said, full sword and fire rod. Like there's a reason why the gold sword is locked behind the 5/6 crystal in the vanilla game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really, especially casually, it's just a really nice item because it does the tempered spin damage, but just as a slash, so it makes things pretty easy. Obviously, if you're familiar with like speedrunning the game, then you don't really need it. It doesn't speed up really any of the fights, other than maybe like Trinex in some cases. But you can actually zero cycle Trinex with tempered sword. It's just extremely difficult, and it's kind of RNG dependent. But it does also make certain, like I said, certain fights easier. Like Cold Stare is just easier. Trying to go for a zero cycle Argus is also easier with the gold sword compared to trying to do the tempered hook dashes. And here's that Ice Palace Desert difference you were talking about earlier, Clear Mouse.
Yes. I mean, I'm very hesitant to actually make a call for who's going to come out ahead here, because they are rooms apart. We are potentially to get some very much sinking boss kills here. Ack with silvers, with gold sword. I mean, he has his choice for how he wants to take out Lambo. DT is going to drop into Cold Stare very shortly. And then really, yeah, I mean, right now it's just literally a race of execution. Again, the gauntlet for GT is always going to be an equalizer, but it is really going to come down to who makes the fewest number of mistakes.
Yeah, and we do have Tower of Hera to wrap up real quick before going into GT, but that's going to be a real quick dungeon, and we'll kind of see. I mean, even something as small as like Hera Pot, whoever can do that faster can make a bit of a difference there. Yeah. Oh, we got some sword beam tech from DT.
Oh my gosh, is this going to be synchronous, like crystal grabs? Oh, and
well, because of the text block kind of evening things out. This is actually
oh wow, yeah,
so close.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like we're literally looking at our trackers here. This is respectively, there's 6, both Ack and DT's 6 crystal. They are really just, they're gonna pull out the flute. I guess DT has 1 mirror transition away. They're gonna go straight to, in this case, the Dark World, Dark Death Mountain. Going to mirror right in front of GT, do Hera, and then go straight to GT.
Yeah. So the sword beam tech on Cold Stare is really cool, and I'm glad I've seen it a little bit more lately, I feel. But you shoot the fire rod at Cold Stare's ice form, and then you shoot a sword beam right after, and it counts the sword beam as a fire rod. So you can do it to save magic and save some shots for the fire rod, or if you go in with less magic and don't have Bombus or don't want to use it. Unfortunately, though, like if you do have full magic, it's kind of a bit faster to actually just use your 8 fire rod shots and then do the kind of typical spin into the corner quick kill.
Yeah, and right now we're seeing how close these runners are. Every second is really going to come down to it.
Yeah, that's the only real reason I'm kind of pointing out some of these little things, though, because like everything really matters right now. Okay.
Yeah,
actually, I like, so yeah, DT is gonna have to open up this Dark World portal here.
Yeah, and this one, I'm not sure like what the exact time difference is going to be. It looks like Ack is going to take a more traditional route, but DT most likely wanted to kind of avoid maybe some dead rocks along the way. This is certainly a much more stable, or like fewer enemies kind of in the path. But we're going to see. All right, so Ack here is entering Hera. We're going to tag this 4252. See how far DT is behind here. All right, 4302. So 10 seconds? Oh man. Ack,
Ack was real quick there. Yeah, this is okay. That wasn't bad on DT.
Right there. Oh man. This is so tense. Alright, so
there's
Moldorm
also always the potential for Moldorm to be a jerk, but with Gold Sword, 2 quick slashes, and Ack has the cape for...
Alright, Ack is definitely playing as safe as he possibly can here, because a Moldorm fall at this point is just really gonna hurt time. Oh man.
Yeah, I actually really like the cape usage. That's kind of what I mentioned that, you know, way back near the beginning of the seed, but having the quick swap option enabled on these races, which has been, you know, enabled for all of the league races, lets you use these kind of techniques that you wouldn't normally like. The cape becomes a much better item for just saving little bits of time here and there, because you can just, you know, switch to it while you're running to places, and you can switch to it for make a Moldorm fight safer. Whereas if you have to menu and switch to the cape, it no longer becomes worth it because you're not going to save any time. You're going to lose time, potentially.
Yeah, and also this is another advantage of the cape that has over the Cane of Verna. You know, both are invincibility items, but you know, those extra sparkles from that cane also can cost you time in terms of lag. So it's really nice that they're able to, you know, take specifically the cape versus the cane.
Yeah, the cape actually the cape reduces lag and the cane adds it.
Yeah.
And the cape, you can do spins. Like the cape is just, it's better in almost every scenario. There are a couple things the cape or the cane can do, such as fight, you know, blind, but DT, what?
All right. Oh, DT
half mag. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So this could actually be a difference maker.
He's got to save enough time with it that made that pickup worthwhile, though.
Oh, that's true. I think I maybe saw JP was putting this out in chat as part of the third member of Team WJPDTB. That maybe, you know, Willard and DT are not actually interested in seeing where their opponents are, so maybe they're not actually aware of how close this race actually is. You know, so so maybe in their mind, hey, this is going to be a safety, this is going to be really nice, you know, it's going to be worth it to them.
Yeah, if it was silverless, or, you know, you had a master sword or something, then that half magic is 100% something I would pick up. But when you're as decked out as these runners are, I don't think that cape pickup is going to save time in the end. They're just like I said, you can do some cool tech with it. You can make that cannonball dash free instead of needing a certain RNG and tight movement to get through there. But it's not going to add up to the dozen seconds it took to go down there and pick it up.
Yeah.
But unless I don't know, there could be some shenanigans with magic pickups, refilling for the torch rooms and stuff on the left side that will be of zero concern on DT and Willard and WJPD's side over here.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, so I also kind of noticed that Ack kind of switching over from silver arrows to wooden arrows in the gauntlet is going to actually reduce a little bit more lag in terms of execution, and also taking care to make sure that he has enough arrows to fight Ganon with. Looks like DT is also pretty resource conscious. Oh, was also rewarded there with some nice 10 arrow drop there.
Say DT had just enough arrows and Ack had 1 to spare, but then DT gets the 10 arrow drop. Yeah, I've said it a couple times, but that's what I said. I like about this mode is there's practically zero significant luck, because a lot of the boss RNGs and stuff are normalized for your first time encountering them, at least. So the important things Egg of Blue Balls and Ganon Warps are gonna be normalized, but there's still a little bit of RNG in terms of item drops, when they'll show up and when you'll get them, and certain enemy movements, maybe the pokies that you would see in Turtle Rock, which was irrelevant here, but the RNG between that is almost a non-factor in these seeds, which I think makes it a very exciting race, especially when you get a race this close.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, that half magic pickup kind of, I think, let DT skip one of the magic refills that Ack ended up having to get at the end because he used the fire rod. But oh man,
yeah,
this is so close, right? Okay, so Ack's gonna get validation chest at 47.52. And DT is at 54. Holy cow! This is it looks like DT made up a good number of seconds here on Ack in terms of execution.
Yeah, this Ega fight is gonna be this could be the decider, actually, because with the gold sword, silver arrows, it's safe to assume both of our runners are going to get a 1-1 for those first 2 phases. They're going to get the same Ganon warps.
Yeah, and they have the same amount of health, actually. Both, it looks like 6 working cards. Okay, so Ack, it looks like 2.
Triple.
And on DT side, okay, so that is another 2.
Oh, the 0.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no, Ack out at a 0. Sorry, so we're 3 cycles.
So that'd be 5 on right 4. And, oh, my God. No, Ack! Oh, DT taking Ega 2 down first.
So okay, so Ack was 1 Aga cycle behind. DT is going to be the first of our 2 runners to drop into Ganon at this point. Holy cow.
Okay, it's not over. With how close it is, it's not over, but like, again, like I was saying, with the gold sword, both of these runners should be getting 1-1 phase 1 and 2. 1 cycle each phase, and then they're gonna get the same Ganon warps. So it will just come down to there could be, you know, whether it's double or triple silver arrow shots. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so DT I think dropped in at 14, Ack dropped in at 20. So right now is a 6-second difference between the 2 runners. I'm so nervous for oh my gosh, it's so tense. DT, okay, he does have a red potion. Whether he knows it or not, he cannot die here whatsoever. And so he looks like he actually made a really good decision to use that red potion.
Yeah, and yeah, that half magic
potion. Yeah, even using the potion actually costs time, right?
Yeah, because you have to wait for the hearts to refill.
Look, that's right. Oh,
so. DT's still a little bit ahead. Going to be entering phase 4 first. But yeah, that half magic pickup did really... Oh, man. This is like a crazy GT. Yeah, can't get over it.
Unfortunately, there's still teleports here. Yeah, it looks like Torch Glitch at least not going to be very critical for DT here. Was that the
there's
first
1 arrow, there's 2 arrows, there's a 3rd arrow. Oh, no. Oh, and Ack missed the blue Ganon. I think he got a silverless hit there. And Ganon exploding first on WJPD's side. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Ack, please don't fall. Alright, so wow. What a close race. Holy cow. Get your GGs out in chat for Willard and In the Name of DT. Squeaking out that Ganon fight in Aga 2. And finishing up with an official time of 15 minutes and 49 seconds. Ack, get your GGs out in chat for Korik and Ack with 50 minutes and 57 seconds. This is a 8-second difference between the 2 runners. Holy cow.
Yeah, and that was beautiful. And like, there's so many, I don't know. It's impossible to like, I hate playing like the what if game when it comes to rando. Even in these kind of seeds where I said there's, you know, like very little like significant luck. But it's so hard to just pinpoint one thing because like we did have that half magic pickup, which it seemed like it probably came out in DT's favor to pick that up because Ack definitely spent some time with extra time getting the magic refills up in the upper floors again in his tower. But he also has the flippers, so that's also a difference between the 2 runners here.
Yeah, I mean, it's 8 seconds. These 8 seconds is so hard to pinpoint for one particular act, right? I mean, like, so many different things could have gone differently and basically make up, 8 seconds or 7 seconds or 1 or 2 there, here and there. Right? It's just crazy.
Yeah, and there's like just the execution differences as well. Like, Ack, as I mentioned, saved some time on Moth. I think DT still didn't get like an optimal cold sword, but they didn't get as out of control as they did on Ack's side, and he had the gold swords. So I feel like he saved a little bit of time there. And then obviously there's the Ega 2 at the end. Like, wow, just a fantastic showing though by both runners. Great job for both of the co-pilots. Like, just a fantastic race. This is like what you want to see for these kind of races. An 8-second difference is just incredible.
Yeah, speaking of our great runners, we are joined in the booth here by Ack and TT. GG's, guys.
Hey, thanks.
On a phenomenal race.
GG, man.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, thank you to both of you for giving us a great race. Like, regardless of who won and lost, like, that was a lot of fun to watch and commentate. So,
glad you enjoyed it.
And thank you. I did. I had a blast. Yeah. So how? I don't know. I'll ask you guys first if you have anything you want to say about the seed or about the race or anything.
Oops. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think you played great, Jack. I mean, it was...
Yeah, the 8 seconds, like, oh. And as I was saying before you two hopped in voice here, there's a lot of like just little execution differences that like you saved some time on Moth. I think DT saved some time on Cold Stare. A lot of that kind of stuff. That half magic pickup on DT's side, I was like very unsure of, but I think that played out in your favor in the end. And it was just that was fantastic. You both should be very
on whether or not to pick up the half magic for a while, and ultimately decided, the cape strats that you saw that in the early GT climb were just kind of improvised, just as ways to not take damage when you have low health, and then just being able to spam Fire Rod is worth it. I think.
Yeah, and it saves you, like, you just get the one magic pickup right before Moldorm 2, and you don't have to really worry about, maybe having to pick up the one after the first torch room. And yeah, the additional cape, again, that's like, I kept on bringing that up, is like what's, so interesting about the quick swap is that you have a lot of like cape strats that are viable because you don't have to spend the menu time switching to the cape. So a lot of little times here and there that can be saved. Oh man, and then I'm curious about the flippers though and also we're joined by Korek. So Korek, again, fantastic job by both teams. So
yeah, GG's Korek.
Good GG's.
Hey, thanks.
So yeah, I guess since you're in here, why'd you have Ack pick up the flippers? Were you just unsure if you needed them, or did you think that you might as well pick them up because it's not that far away and you're gonna have to head to Waterfall Ferry?
Oh yeah, I mean that's basically it. I wasn't sure if we needed them yet, and not having to fake flipper at the end is potentially a time save if your nerves are getting to you. So it seemed reasonable.
Yeah, we were conjecturing. We thought we might be seeing the desert big in Swamp until DT went into desert and picked it up off the torch. Also,
hey, GG's gamers.
Yeah, GG's Willard.
GG's.
That was a fun one to route. Holy cow.
Yeah, it was also wild how differently the first 20 minutes were between both of the teams here. And then for it to still come down to an 8-second difference was just insane.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't pull up Ack's stream until DT was entering GT. Just because, I don't know, I'd rather us just focus on playing through the seed, and then we can worry about that later. And even once I saw it, I was like, well, I mean, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to sit back and watch. So that was an exciting finish.
Enjoyed the show at that point.
Yeah.
It was very interesting on my part because I typically don't really like to be bothered by that stuff. But for some reason, there was just a different energy in the air during the Ganon Tower climb. I was like, I think this is really close right now. then we're going over my Aggtheboker. He's like, don't worry about it. I was like,
Oh no.
It's the one thing you hear that immediately makes you worry.
I mean, we've raced a lot together, so I'm very familiar with what's going on. And I was like, I think that might have done me in on that one there.
I actually had no idea, no feeling, no anything about where either one of us were in relation to each other on this, and I did my best to just stay as focused as I could throughout the whole run and just accept the result, whatever it was, and then
because we were contemplating whether it would be worth it to send DT over to get half magic or the Sang heart that was over there. But I didn't pull up the stream until he had already done that. And yeah, I don't know. I know if it was me, I just want to focus, because I mean, unless you're grabbing like the safety fairies or something, like the rest is really just up to RNG and execution. So
Did you guys start Dark World in Hype Cave?
No.
No, because you had the mitts, right?
Yeah, we went to Skull Woods first because we wanted to get that hammer.
Yeah, that sounds right. You sent me there. And then I saved and quit and went to Hype Cave, Stumpy, and Digging Game.
Where was the fire rod? You had that.
When did you go back and do Moth?
Fire Rod is like Paradox. No, you did. So they did Skull Woods all in one go.
Yeah.
And you
Oh,
went
right,
back
'cause-
for Moth.
That's right.
Did you get the? I just saw that you had the. It said you had killed every boss with Tempered Sword. That's the only reason why I asked. Because I guess you would have, like, started in the Dark World and gotten the sword. Did you just come back around after that and do Skullwoods?
No, you had
No,
Master
they
Sword
have
for.
Master
Oh,
Sword.
I thought it said that on your stats, but you know what? Maybe I was actually just looking at mine while the credits were rolling. So
No.
that makes a little bit more sense.
Definitely had Master for Moth on this one.
Yeah, that's why I was really confused, because I heard that you did Skullwoods early, and I was trying to think how you would have got up there with a sword, but just ignore me. I'm making stuff up right now.
No, that's fine. I can't even remember what I did at this point. So.
The fun part was Pod being a hot mess and like, oh man, there's so many things here. I'm probably gonna need you to get like several keys. And then as he was going from Hype Cave to Digging Game, initially he was gonna dip back into Thieves Town to grab the Pod Small in the first chest. But then I saw that there were 2 Pod Smalls in Eastern. So breaking down that route of like dipping into Pod to get stuff, to Mirror to do Eastern, to go back into Pod to finish it was fun.
Yeah,
That's what I like about this mode, is moments like that. I'm like, cool. I love routing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was another like kind of somewhat significant difference between the two of you, because while you were doing Moth DT, Ack got like the hammer, you got like the stuff out of the front of Skullwoods, and then went down into Thieves Town to get that's where they got their 3rd pod small, and then because they picked up their 3rd from the big chest in Eastern, so they didn't have to go over to the compass or the map room.
Yeah,
got it.
I think I hadn't gotten that far about Pod Smalls, and because I think you saved and quit right after Moth, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
So it didn't really make sense routing Thieves Town. So it was a good thing that there were small keys in Eastern that made that better.
Almost went back up to Thieves right after Digging Game, but then knowing the Mirror was in Pod and had the 1 Pod Small, we just started like thinking like, can I get to that Mirror with the 1 small and then just go get the 2 from Eastern? And that's how that was born.
It was also very late when I realized that the flute was on the lumberjack. I don't even remember. I think I just stumbled upon it as I was scrolling down. I was like, oh, all right.
Okay,
And
that's-
DT had already like been up to Death Mountain and everything. I started freaking out. I'm like, oh no, am I gonna have to send him back up there for a castle tower? But then they ended up being relatively convenient. Well, as convenient as they could have been.
Oh, so you didn't even know? Like, I guess one was in Blind's Hideout, and then you got the other one in Hype Cave. Did you just have him open all the chests? Or he probably didn't have the one in Hype Cave yet, maybe.
Hype Cave.
We
and
didn't have. We didn't have either of them yet.
Oh, really? And you, when he'd already been to Death Mountain?
Nope.
Yeah, because Moon Pearl was up there.
Oh man, that's nice. That's nice that they were, I guess, available. Wow, that's awesome. Unless I misunderstood what you said.
Wait, where were the 2? Wait, what was
Castle
it?
Tower was in Agonist Cave and Hype Cave. Those
Oh,
are the
Agina! It was Agina.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say like that was another like early difference that like,
That's right.
Like the 2 of you went so like completely different ways early on that it was just impossible to tell like even what was necessary, because they went over right after the dam, getting the hook shot out of the dam. They went over to Agina's and picked up the castle tower key, and so we were conjecturing about the little Ego tower.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Yeah, we had no idea
about
at that
it
point.
at that point.
Honestly,
we were kind of scrambling there, and I was like,
explains so
oh
much.
gosh, go
When I
to
was-
Mini Moldern for a small key to something maybe. I don't know.
something, yeah. Like I just started going down to Hookshot or the dam because I was like, Willard, I need to go somewhere. You're not telling me. And the Hookshot's there. Oh, cool. Well, I guess I picked the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Alex, I think you guys went to Uncle pretty early, TT and Willard, and then Ack and Korra kind of delayed that trip, so then they did Aga Tower and Uncle.
I don't think we ever went to
Accident.
Uncle because that was the book, and I don't think we never got that because it wasn't useful.
Bombs were there though.
Yeah, you guys got the Uncle Bomb.
Oh, the 10 bombs.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
got the bombs early.
Okay. Never mind. Carry on. It all happened. You know, this was 51 minutes, but it all happened so fast.
It really did.
This mode's a lot of fun, but I'm also very glad that this week is over.
It's stressful.
So stressful, yeah.
As the pilot too, like Korek, I don't know how you did 2 of these because like I mean props to you for that. Like the first 25-30 minutes are nothing but scramble mode for the pilot, so good job.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's fun.
It is.
I don't know. Pilot doesn't seem that bad. I mean, I've never done it, but you know, I'm sure it's probably not so bad. No, he's
Give it a shot
crazy for
sometime, man.
doing it. It's no, I don't want to do that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you'd have to listen to like Ack yelling at you.
Yeah, you have to listen to me yelling at me. Is
Yeah.
the worst.
I'm kind of curious how many practices you guys did leading up to both the races.
2. I did 2. He did more because he practiced on gym sides too. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
We did like 3 of the asyncs, and then we did like 3 non-async races, or like of the
Okay.
ones from the list. But
it paid off.
Yeah, also like just looking at the collection rate difference between the 2 sides here.
Korek, you were so kind to Ack in terms of safeties and health.
Yeah,
It's exactly what you wanted, right?
we should have skipped a couple. This is my fault. I should have listened to you. I was complaining about the safeties and we got too much.
Well, I think a lot of that is. I mean, you have like the bug. I feel like a lot of that might have just been like early on in Kakariko when maybe you
Yeah.
were kind of looting.
I mean, I even
everything.
knew the bug net was back there, but I already blew the wall open. I was like, man, if
Like I
if
didn't
I
waste
opened
this
it, I'm
bomb for
getting it.
nothing.
Yeah.
You
Use a
never
bug.
know. Mode like this, having the bug net isn't bad if you've got 5 hearts and suddenly you decide you want a fairy.
Yeah. And the seed, like, man,
Seed was
Yeah,
much
Gold
friendlier
Sword
than
and, like silver arrow. Like what? It's not
this
even.
seed was stupid friendly compared to me and Gems.
Yeah, you rarely see like
Compared
this
to
kind of mode
safeties.
where you have like this well geared out with like both the cape and powder and silver and gold. So we're like, wow,
Yeah,
oh boy.
it's a fun one.
Yeah, well, GG guys. Good luck to the rest of your season. Hopefully, we'll see you again a little closer to the end of it.
Yeah, GG's.
Here's
Had fun
hoping.
going against you guys this week.
It's a good one. GG's.
Yeah, GG's to both of the teams here, and best of luck to you going forward.
Yeah, GG's
I think
for an
it's time to
excellent race.
start wrapping things up, Clear Mouse.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thank you for the commentary, guys. I haven't, watched it back yet, but I'm sure Clear Mouse, you did excellent. I'm sure Swerby, you were also excellent on commentary, regardless of what Files said about it. So I look forward to checking it out later. Thank you guys again.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much for letting us commentate your race. It was a blast to watch. Very, very tense, especially at the end.
And just if you do watch it back, ignore what I said when you were you messed up those auto stairs, extended auto stairs in pod.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a trick I only know how to do whenever I'm not trying to do it. So
Yeah. I mean, I'd never even use it, so I'm not really one to judge, but I did anyway. But yeah, GG's, and you wanna have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, have a great night. Thanks again for putting on such an awesome race, guys. And best of luck
Bye-bye.
moving forward.
Thanks for commentating, tracking, and everything.
Thanks, everybody.
Blah, blah, blah.